Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day, an Arise Media Group and This Day newspaper Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, KK.
Good morning, Oji.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, KK.
Good morning, Adiso, and good morning, Shay. Great to be here.
Yeah. All right, good to have you as always. Let's quickly roll into it, the review of This Day on Sunday, which of course we'll start with. Let's take it from top to bottom. The window story says, Yahya Bello, American International School explains refund of fees to EFCC, reaffirms respect for Nigerian institutions. The Riders says funds returned based on Commission's request, denies any wrongdoing. I mean, that's essentially about the brickbat between Yahya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State, and the EFCC, who appears to, they're still looking for him. Let's hope that they find him. The next story is a strip which readers will find on page 6 of today's newspaper. Obi seeks prayers for politicians to judiciously expend public funds. That's the former governor speaking there. And on that, they masted 9 dead, over 100 vehicles burnt in Rivers, Ogun fuel tankers, explosions. That's a sad one there. And the second lead story, in major restructuring, EFCC chairman appoints chief of staff, 14 new zonal directors. Looks like Mr. Ola Olukwede, the new helmsman at the EFCC, is bringing some significant changes to the organization. 14 new zonal directors, and then a new chief of staff. I'm not sure, though, how appointing a new chief of staff by the chairman of the EFCC should become a major news item. I thought that it ought to be, a major security operative. Maybe that's something that should be internal, so that people don't start looking for the new chief of staff to the chairman of the EFCC. The lead story itself says CDS, we must shame enemies of Nigeria, unite against banditry, terrorism, seeks promotion of nations' diversity for development, says many people do not like Nigeria's blessings. That's the Chief of Defense Staff speaking there for Nigeria. And last but not the least is the picture of the royal wedding is called, showing dignitaries there at the wedding of the Emir's children, Sanusi Aminu Bayero and Rumana Nasir Bayero, at the Emir's Palace in Kano on Friday. Those are the stories, KK, on today's This Day on Sunday.
Thank you, Steve. I suppose it would be in order to start with the picture, the photo on the front page of This Day as usual,
Yes.
And that congratulations will be in order, to the family, the palace of the Emir of Kano, on the joyful occasion at the weekend of the marriage of children, and wishing the newly married couples, the blessings of matrimony. Now, the lead story of this day today is actually quoting the chief of staff, the chief of defense staff, General Chris Musa, and this occasion is as a general, is also addressing, some social issues, if you like, slightly political, and I think it's quite in order. But the context is very important, that in doing so, as a general, is rallying perhaps the whole country, on a note of hope. He spoke, at a gathering of the Old Boys, the Old Boys Association of Unity Schools. The Association of Unity Schools, their alumni, having a function. And General Musa himself, being an old boy of the Unity School, Federal Unity School in Sokoto, was one of the speakers, there he emphasized that rather than being an equivalence, rather than being a setback, that the diversity of the country should be mobilized to give us strength and to progress. And one particular thing that he said, which I think should be amplified, is that Nigeria should approach the issue. I mean, much as it's legitimate, it's not even just legitimate as a matter of right, but it's also a duty to be critical of the situation of things. But in all this, we must not lose the element of hope, and people should see blessings. Like they say, when an American finishes making a statement, they will say, "God bless America." But a Nigerian critic, after all the lamentations, will end up cursing his a country. So that perhaps what General Musa has in mind when he said, that some people do not even like the blessings, of the country, and just like the President Tinubu said at his the last alarm message, that the element of hope is very important, because if you really look at it, you cannot really seriously contemplate the future, even amidst the problems, amidst crisis, if there is no hope. That hope, is an underlying factor, for the future. Similarly, the other story, which is just a strip there, is also important to highlight, and that is the statement made by Mr. Peter Obi. He attended a funeral in Rivers State at the weekend, the mother of former governor of Rivers State, Mr. Omeya. And it's in his usual form, in a soft language, he said that Nigeria should pray for public officers so that they will deploy public resources for public good. I think, it's a call, that should be embraced. If you like, I will jump it up. That is a kind of prayer, that should reverberate in every mosque, every church. That God should touch, the hearts of public officers, so that, the limited public resources that we have, should be deployed, for public good, especially in the interest, of the poor majority. For the story of Yaya Bello and the rest, my position is that this conducting judicial affairs in the media to me, is not the proper thing to do. The matter should be left to court.
Exactly.
It's a judicial process. It's going through the justice process. Everybody should be made to have confidence. Both the accused, the accuser, the public, everybody should have confidence in the justice process. So I think the matter should be left to court. Let the court determine, what really, the issues are. I think it's quite inappropriate. It's quite inappropriate that a matter that should be in court, has been taken to the street, to the street, to be conducted. I think it's not a good commentary, on our system, and it's an erosion of confidence, in the judicial system. What is going on? The real assault that is going on is an assault on the judicial system, And I think that should not be encouraged.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you as well. But this statement was from the American International School, correct? They are the ones that are explaining. They released the letter released by the EFCC. By the EFCC. Letters that ought to go to the court. Yes, absolutely.
They ought to go to the court.
Yes,
really.
absolutely.
Not for what are we going to do? We are not the. There's no jury system here.
Trial by media. Absolutely.
By media.
Absolutely. Shall we move over?
Totally needless.
Yes. Shall we move over to This Day's Style quickly?
Yes.
On the cover picture on This Day's Style, we have 9 actresses. I mean, they're celebrating 9 actresses and calling them queens of the silver screen. We have Nse Ikwem Etip, Genevieve Naji, Iniedo, Dakore Akonde, Funke Akindele, Mercy Johnson, Omotola Jalade Ekende, Rita Dominic, and Tony Abraham. And, the cover note here says, throughout the years, the Nigerian film industry known as Nollywood has consistently established itself as the standard bearer in African cinema, earning widespread recognition and acclaim on a global scale. This remarkable achievement can largely be attributed to the collective and dedicated efforts of various industry stakeholders, including producers, directors, writers, and talented actors who have continued continuously pushed the boundaries of storytelling and cinematic experience. Congratulations to these women. I mean, there are stories, their story is in This Day Style, but if my cameraman can also come to me now inside This Day Style, I'd like to show off our very amiable Shaitan Atigarin. As we celebrate women, Shaitan Atigari's news is in there. She has displayed her latest masterpiece, Serenity Collection. Congratulations. Yes, masterpiece. Yes. Congratulations also to Shaitan Atigari.
Thank you.
Very well done.
A baby bite. This is such a pleasant surprise. Like, wow, thank you so much. It looks really good too. Like, I'm proud of myself.
We celebrate you and the women on the cover. Congratulations. Women's Month was last month, and you know, I love the fact that This Day Style is continuing to celebrate women in Nigeria.
When is she dressing Steve and the Angels? Like,
well, I have a piece.
She already has a piece. I'm going to look at it well, and then we'll look into yours.
What about KK? You consider it too?
Yes.
All right, KK.
Okay, we have very little time. Shaitan, this way, can you guys pull up at least 2 papers?
Let's go to the Nation on Sunday with some interesting stories there. The 2 top stories on the page. The Nation on Sunday, Oba of Benin suspends palace aides for pledging allegiance to the Oni. The rest of that story is on page 5. I think that we also this video on social media.
Oba suspends
his palace aides, yes, they call them ill-bred individuals who pledge
pledging allegiance to the Oni. His cousin.
well,
okay, that's fine.
I mean, it goes to the superiority of what stole over the other, but there's also Edo 2024. I'm not going there. Edo 2024, fresh trouble for PDP as Orbi rejects Ighodalo campaign role, declares support for impeached deputy governor, and that is on page 4. Now, the main story is Rivers crisis. I wouldn't govern on bended knees. That is Fubara, that's the current governor of Rivers State, alleges fierce ongoing battle to destroy state. And that's on page 5. And the pictures there, of course, is from the horrible incident in Port Harcourt with 100 vehicles razed with a pregnant woman and 3 others die. So I'll say those are the main story. That's the main story on the Nation. And the bottom, actually, the essay to the energy for the president, Verhigen, how presidential directives are driving energy sector reforms.
Shaitan,
on the Sunday Vanguard, we're still, the major headline there is still talking about the stalled minimum wage negotiations. It says, amid hardship, workers hope for pay rise by May Day. I mean, May is just around the corner. There's still the hopes for pay rise by May Day dashed. The electricity tariff hike, Labour Mills upward review of 615,000 naira. The old wage expired March 31st. I'm also seeing Abia, Taraba, Zamfara still paying their pre-2019 salary. We're talking about almost 5 years ago, and they're still getting paid. This story, of course, from Rivers, very, very tragic story. Black weekend in Rivers as a pregnant woman and many, according to the Sunday Vanguard, roasted in the tanker fire. 4 killed, 6 vehicles razed in Ogun gas truck crash.
All right, KK, before you, let me just add 1 or 2 interesting stories from the Punch for human angle interest. On the window, it says political polygamy. Governor's spouses battle for first lady's role. And in the story, there are a number of governors from Washu to Kwara, different states, where wives are struggling, to take the role of the first lady. And if you now look at the right side, on the window of today's Sunday Point, it says, no law forbids polygamy in Celestial Church. Wow. That's Oshofa's son saying that. And I will imagine that in most churches, you will, outside of the Pentecostal, you will have the argument that polygamy
is accepted in Nigeria now as well. I mean, people are...
In Nigeria?
Yes. What are you talking about? Okay, go ahead.
KK, over to you, sir.
Yeah. I think we should quickly take the story that, on a tragic note, that unites all the papers today on the front pages. And that's the story of the terrible accidents that happened in River State, as well as Ogun State, that we commiserate, with the families, of those who who died, and that in both cases, I mean, there are lessons to be learned. Like in the case of Rivers State, it was the report, attributed the accident to explosion of a tanker. That road safety, is a matter that should be taken seriously, and due lessons should be learned. And also the story of the May Day is almost here, but that's still on the note of hope that it is still possible, contrary to the impression by that report, that there is a deadlock and that workers should lose hope. Workers should not lose hope because, given the nature of collective bargaining, which is the basis on which labor, government, and employers, will arrive at the new minimum wage, which will later be promulgated into a law, that it is still possible to have a breakthrough. That it is the nature of negotiation that breakthrough can come, at a point. So workers should definitely have hope, and whatever it is, on a final note, that I am not surprised that the first story that Adiso highlighted in the nation is the age-long, controversy, about the superiority between the monarchy in Benin and, I think, and yes, Steve, to correct you, they are not, palace aides, they are also chiefs, they are, traditional title holders, and of course they are subjects of the Oba of Benin. And what has happened now, you have a palace disciplinary procedure, being applied, and the reader will find that so very interesting because the Oba of Benin, in the statement from the palace, stressing that the position of the Oba of Benin, the authority cited, incidentally, is the memoir of his late father, Oba Eredua. That book, I remain, sir, your obedient servant, where the late Oba of Benin, gave the Benin, what you can call the authoritative version, of the Benin version of the story, saying that it was an errant prince, from Benin, that founded Ife. Whereas the Ife story is exactly the opposite of that. That the Benin monarchy is, arose, from Ife. It's quite interesting, and I think historians again will have to go to work and join the
Mr. Komolafe, we've run out of time, but I was hoping that you would touch on the political polygamy and the law against polygamy as an expert. Is he an expert on the subject? I was hoping that you will end on that note, but I guess we'll excuse you for that. Would you like to?
There's always another day.
There's another day. Well, all right. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us on the newspaper review this morning. Thank you very much indeed.